Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman ZX Advent. In the last part, we took care of the oil fields and got our first biometal defeated. We can now transform into Atlas. And now we're meant to go back towards the train we did the first proper level with Model A with, to go head over to Legion headquarters, but first I've gotten some energy crystals, so let's go say hey to Kid again. In fact, I think we start off by doing some side quests, period. Yeah, 300 more energy crystals, so that's where it is. It's 100, 200, 300, then 400 for the final door that you need to pay for, at least. So, what is that? That's 1,000-ish energy crystals total, and it's easy to get thousands throughout the game, so you should have plenty by the end of the game even still. But this unlocks the first proper door here, as well as this dude. I'm Nick. How are you? As you can see, I'm an old model Reploid. Just because I'm old doesn't mean that my life cycle settings are any longer. It just means I'm a previous generation Reploid. You know, this room could use some life. Been thinking about turning it into a cafe. Jim, the hunter, let me borrow his blueprints for a cafe, but I lost them while walking back from Jim's cafe. It was really windy, and if I did manage to find them, I'd probably be in some place too hard for me to reach. I feel terrible for asking a favor to someone I just met, but would you mind looking for them? Jim was nice enough to lend me his blueprints, but I went off and lost them. Hopefully they're just caught on some fence somewhere out there, and indeed they are. Now this is, I think, the only time in the two ZX games they outright talk about how Reploids have evolved since the Zero series. Because in Zero, by and large, Reploids looked fairly human, but you could still tell that they were artificial life, so to speak. Whereas in ZX, at least in the ZX part of the timeline, rather, they are noticeably more humanoid. The only way you can directly tell, outside of maybe some weird mechanical stuff on their arms or ears, is a red triangle. If they have a red triangle on their forehead, they're a Reploid. In fact, Gray himself is a Reploid. And you can even, it's even lampshaded in his menu, because whenever you transform into his base form, it's stylized as RE. Thank you. Now I can finally build that cafe. Oh, and I can start by selling some E-tanks or something. So while we get energy crystals for this, the big thing is this now allows us to get a couple of heliums. You can buy, I believe, an energy tank from him, which is a free full health restore. I think it costs like 300 energy crystals or something like that, so it's pretty pricey. But you can also open the fridge that's going to be in his cafe a couple times later on for 1 or 2 use healing item that's a cake. It's more important to do this for other side quests, honestly. But yeah, in Gray's menu, the RE stands for Reploid. That's his base form. If you're playing as Ash, it's notably not RE, it's stylized as HU because Ash is human. While both of the characters in the original ZX, I believe, were human, only one of them is in this game. And I honestly kind of prefer that because it leads to some interesting story dialogue later on. Say, are you the hunter everyone's been talking about? Oh, I apologize. It was rude of me not to introduce myself first. My name is Carly. I'm a reporter. I specialize in reporting about hunters. I was doing some digging on these Reploids called pseudoroids. Turns out they can actually repair themselves. That means that even if you blast them, they can come back to life. Scary. That's slightly lampshading, something that's going to happen later on in the game that happened in the original game. Alright, so there is a 500, so 1,500 energy crystals to get all the ones you need to pay for out of the way. I forgot about the 500 one. I thought there was only one left after that door. So, later on in the game, in the original ZX, the bosses just randomly started coming back, and that was an easy way for you to get higher level victories against them, to repair the biometal easier, or to get used to the bosses. In this game, they don't do that. The bosses will only come back if you will them to, so to speak, when you activate certain side quests towards the end of the game. We'll talk more about that, though, when it comes to me refacing them for reasons that we'll get into way later in the game. But that said, if you come back here at this point in the game to talk to Nina, she gives you an orange. It's a one-use healing item that I think you can come back to get more, but don't quote me on that. It only heals 4 points of life, so it's not very helpful. With that said, there are 2 ways you can get back to Legion. You can either talk to the raider we're about to see, or hop on the train to redo the second intro stage. Yo, Brother Gray, we've been waiting for you. Everything's sorted. Check it out. He's all fixed and ready to go. You just give the word. Shall we go to Legion? Sure. Here we go. All aboard. And now we're just taking right here. If you finish the train stage again, you're also taken to that exact area. And welcome to Legion proper. I love the song here. But before we get into the main stage, there's some NPCs to talk to. Hello, I'm Patrick. When there's no hunter work for me to do, I do odd jobs here at the station. If you continue to the right of the station, you'll find an elevator that goes down. Get on top of the elevator and press down the control pad to go down. But be careful of mini cannon sentries. It looks like one of the passengers forgot this backpack. If you're going back to the hunter's camp, would you mind returning it to its owner for me? This is one of the more annoying parts of ZX Advent. There's some side quests that require you to come here to Train 3 at the start of the Legion headquarters, then go back to the hunter's camp, and then sometimes back and forth again 1 or 2 more times. It doesn't take too long, especially because of what's in the door after this one, but it's still a little weird. Hello, I'm Janet. I work here at this shop. I'm afraid we're sold out of everything but this bucket. Buy the bucket for 100? Sure. Thank you. Have a nice day. This only comes into play with one very minor mechanic, and it doesn't even really matter. It's more or less a waste of energy crystals in the long run, I think. I don't think it's used in anything but one side quest. Hello, and welcome to the sub-tank server. Fill up your sub-tank today for the low price of 50 energy crystals, regardless of how low it is. That allows you to fill up any of your sub-tanks as you go through the game. Hello, my name's Marina. This bookstore specializes in comic books. More on that later. So it fills your energy, your sub-tanks, the middle store there, for 50 a pop. But it is per sub-tank. So if you have all 4 by the end of the game, to fill it up, it'll cost 200, which is a little pricey. My, what do we have here? If it isn't the famous Model 8 Chosen One. Oh, I almost forgot. My name's Rudy. You'll have to pardon my appearance. I can assure you that my looks belie my true self. Truth be told, and this is strictly between you and me, a simple transport device has come into my possession. Unfortunately, I cannot sell it. However, I can let you use it on an as-needed basis for 50 energy crystals. The thing is, because of the low power output, you can only use it to return to Hunter's Camp. Do you need to use it? No. Oh, well, if you ever need to use it, just let me know. So, Rudy there is how you easily get back to Hunter's Camp for those side quests. So you don't have to go all the way through the Legion headquarters stage to transport back. But that still means you're gonna need some energy crystals. It's easy to get them in the game, again, but still, it's a little weird that they just make them use them so flippantly. Also, something very minor that I haven't talked about yet that I'm glad they refined for this game. In the original ZX, whenever you got a side quest, you had to go to a trans server, activate that side quest, and then finish it to get the rewards or even be doing it. In this game, that's not how any of the quests work at all, because you also need to do that in the original ZX for main quests. In this, you just go to an area, you do the thing, it's active. You don't need to use the trans servers. The trans servers are just how you get main story completion, mission completion, energy crystals and the like. It's not needed to confirm missions, it's not needed to collect rewards, you just go to the person and you're fine. Thank God. Did you hear that? What was that loud noise? There's a shootout somewhere. I wonder if Maverick's got the jump on us. I can't get through to the Sage Trinity. This doesn't look good. Legion headquarters is this way. Let's hurry. I do believe this is meant to be Area C, by the way, the city from the first ZX. And thus, the Legion headquarters itself properly begins, but the first section of it is just a marathon through some galleons, frankly. The motorcycle ones from the oil field show up again here, and something I really should have taken better advantage of here, and I recommend you do, is transforming into Atlas here, because like I mentioned in the last part, her standard shot pellets do more damage than I think any of the normal shots that Ash and Gray do, and might be less damage than the mid-charge, but not as much as the full charge. But the thing is, Atlas's rate of fire is ridiculous, plus you can also aim up with her, so it's a lot simpler to take care of the motorcycle galleons and even some other enemies by just using Atlas. I'd recommend using her for a lot of the main game's platforming moving forward, honestly. The biggest thing she doesn't have is, in some regards, homing abilities and the ability to hit all across the screen. But even then, she has that in a different way. I remember frequently, though, getting a headache in this part of the game as a kid for some reason. I think it's mostly the fact that when I was playing on my DS back when, I would play for hours relentlessly just staring at the tiny screen, because looking back, the original DS screens are not that big. So I would just frequently get headaches playing ZX Advance, ZX Original, Dragon Quest Monsters, Joker, Pokemon Ranger. I got a lot of headaches as a kid, which was kind of with a slight trend in the family now that I think about it for varying reasons. This door here is empty. For now. The worst side quest in the game is going to make us come back to this room once later on, and it's quite the backtrack, but that entire side quest is nothing but backtracking. More on that, I think in like part 14, 15, somewhere in that range. This is a relatively long game compared to most of the other Mega Mans.
Target acquired. Initiate information analysis. Commence planned combat procedure. Input response.
Oh man, this guy's the weirdest of them all.
Invalid input. Input response.
Well, if this is the only way for me to find out who I really am...
Response accepted. Commence combat. Megaman.
Siarnaq can potentially be the trickiest out of all the biometal users we have to fight in the game, because he likes to teleport all over the place, going left and right, climbing onto the walls and platforms like Model P could in the original ZX. He can fire his shuriken, or no, his kunai, in various directions, spamming a couple at a time, doing a spread of them across the room. The biggest, most dangerous attack he has is that he'll throw a giant windmill shuriken that can bounce around the room several times if he fires two of them at once. I believe the charge attack he has that's different for Ale is that he'll surround himself in some sort of shield or throw something else. I can't really remember, honestly. He can also cause several clones to show up. You need to shoot the correct one in order to make the attack stop happening. It's very similar to the attack Phantom had in the original Mega Man Zero. If you get it right, he's stunned for a little bit. Otherwise, you just take a hit. The shuriken, the windmill shuriken attack, is probably the hardest attack to dodge just because it bounces consistently, but in a bit of a weird pattern for a first-timer.
Damage. Critical. Hazardous to proceed with combat engagement. In present condition, retreating.
Extracting from code CE71 to FC60. Expanding report data. You who have broken the second cipher now stand at a fateful crossroad. If you continue to read this data, there is no turning back. You too are part of this plan. Biometal has the ability to give its chosen one superhuman powers and combine to become a new life form. This combination results in a Mega Merge, the transformation into a Mega Man. I have decided to select a new chosen one suitable for Model W, the next step in evolution. Finding a suitable candidate in this world is nearly impossible. But I can do it because as one of Legion's Sage Trinity, I know everything about the world.
Model W was created by one of the Sage Trinity?
That means that he and Prometheus are connected somehow, behind the scenes. And it means that we can't even trust the Sage Trinity, yet you still want to go?
Come on, Model A. They're the only ones who know about us.
The data recorded on me is getting more and more outrageous.
Well, that's worrying. We're heading towards a potential villain. Great. Time for a tutorial. What is this place? I can't see a thing in here. Try morphing into Siarnaq. Maybe that'll help. Touch the Siarnaq icon on the lower right of the sub-display. The sub-display will change into a radar scope. You'll be able to see the landscape and enemy positions. You should be able to attack enemies by pressing the right analog stick down to touch their location indicators on the sub-display. But unfortunately, there's no way out of this room. I know! Jump and press up on the D-pad. With Siarnaq's ability, you should be able to grab onto that contraption. Give it a try. Just press up on the D-pad while you're mid-jump. Depending on what you've grabbed onto, you can press the control pad up twice quickly to jump to the top of it. You can also press down the control pad twice to quickly hang. Hold the attack button and release to throw a cross star. If there's something you quite don't understand, just take a look at the profile on the sub-screen. So Siarnaq might be my favorite A-Trans ability in the game because he allows you to see a map of the area properly. He can also expand your view cone, so to speak, in dark areas. He can cling onto walls, onto ceilings, flip up through platforms, and his main attack is a bunch of kunai that will just... It's super easy to spam if you're right in front of an enemy. His charge shot as Gray is the windmill shuriken, as they said. It's kind of limited in range, but it can do a lot of hits really quickly, and it can return to you for some extra damage along the way. If you're playing as Ash, you get more or less a Megaman standard shield weapon that acts close to, I believe it was the... Oh, which shield is it close to? I think it's the one from Mega Man 10 or Mega Man 5, the Jewel Shield, I think. Where the more it gets hit, you lose more of the pieces to it, but it's super good at protecting you and taking care of enemies. I honestly think Ash gets the better charge shot there. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in Part 7, we're going to go confront the Sage Trinity. See you guys then.